Hi, Karen Conlon from SumTotal Accounting and Business, bringing you COVID-19 business update number 2. So what have we been doing in the last week? We've analysed all the client files to establish which government initiatives might be applicable to your businesses or your individual circumstances. We are being bombarded with information right now, and I think it's important to try and keep relevant information in front of you. So you might want to consider looking at federal government site business.gov.au or the state government site business.sa.gov.au. For local governments, you should see your local council site. Banks' information can also be accessed on their individual websites, and there are some other supports that have been an initiative come in the last week. So from a federal government perspective, as you're all aware, there is the boosting cash flow for employers ranging from $10,000 to $50,000 being a contribution towards your PAYG withheld for the March and June 2020 quarters, with a subsequent payment in the July to October period. This will be managed through the BAS lodgement program, and so we've been analysing who would be eligible to receive that and the amounts that you're entitled to receive. Since the last announcement that we had, the JobKeeper payment has been introduced by the federal government, which is a $1,500 per fortnight per employee if your turnover has reduced more than 30%. Remembering that this JobKeeper payment announcement has actually still not been enacted, and so they're still working through the final details of that and then introducing the legislation to Parliament. But understanding also that the Commissioner of Taxation has been given discretion to determine the application of this JobKeeper payment. So if you don't strictly fall within the categories of the JobKeeper payment rules, the Commissioner of Taxation can look at your individual circumstances, and this is going to be really important, I think, in determining application. So we have been reviewing client files to see which JobKeeper payments might be available. The federal government had also announced the support of 50% of existing apprenticeships or trainee wages from the 1st of January to the 30th of September 2020. And remembering though that these are for existing apprenticeships, so not new apprenticeships. There has also been an increased asset write-off until the 30th of June 2020, increasing the threshold from $30,000 to $150,000. So if you do need to purchase assets right now to continue trading in your business, then you have got the ability to depreciate or write off all of that equipment purchase price in this financial year, which of course, depending on your income tax rate, could save a significant amount of income tax right now. The other initiative that the federal government has allowed is the amending the PAYG income tax that you may have paid in the September and December instalments, and we can undertake to vary that in the March 2020 BAS process. From a South Australian state government perspective, the state government have announced quite a lot of initiatives. Some of them are a little bit, may not be applicable to all businesses, so I've tried to summarise the ones that are probably more relevant. For businesses with South Australian group wages under $4 million, the state government has announced that they will waiver tax for the next 6 months. So that means that if your wages bill is under $4 million, and if you're paying payroll tax, then this actual amount will be waived in full. If your wages bill is in excess of $4 million, they've announced that they will allow a tax deferral. So even though that doesn't go away, it means that you've got a 6 months grace period to continue to trade without having that impost out of your cash flow. From a land tax perspective, the government is allowing the 2019 23rd and fourth quarter instalments, if you've got those, to be deferred for 6 months. And with the land tax reform initiatives coming in from the 1st of July 2020, there was a transition fund that's available to compensate people up to 50% of any increased land tax bill issuing from the 1st of July 2020, and they've now increased that gap to 100%. So basically what that's saying is that your land tax bills should not go up for the next year when they are issued on the 1st of July 2020. The government has also announced some South Australian tourism and regional events grants. So this is for businesses that are in the tourism industry and or have had regional events that have had to be cancelled. So if you feel that that's applicable to you, then of course, we can have a conversation about that. Local governments have enacted hardship provisions. Each council's hardship provisions will be different, and so it's important that if you've got rates in a particular local government area and that you are suffering hardship because of COVID-19, then you should look at your council website to see whether you are able to delay or waiver any rates coming up in the next 6 months. So from a banking perspective, on the 20th of March 2020, the Australian Banking Association announced that they will defer loan repayments for small businesses affected by COVID for 6 months. So by now, if you've got a business loan, small business loan with the bank, whether that be equipment finance or another loan, then the banks may have contacted you to let you know that they are deferring loan repayments for those loans. If they haven't contacted you, then perhaps we need to look at contacting them to make sure that those bank loans are covered. There are also hardship applications for those people who have lost their jobs or had reductions in income to defer those loan payments. So there's quite a lot of information to get through from a banking perspective. Please also note that there are special loans that have been made available to small businesses that have suffered from a downturn because of COVID-19. So other supports that might be available to you, the ATO will be remitting interest imposed since 23rd of January 2020 on any outstanding debts. They're also being quite amenable to putting in payment plans in place, so that they will give you time to make some debt payments. Yesterday, a lot of the electricity and gas providers have said that they'll implement hardship provisions for small businesses where their usage has fallen below 25% of normal usage in this next 6-month period. So they will be not enforcing supply charges for those businesses. So if you've closed your shop or business, and of course then your electricity bills are going to be significantly reduced, then those supply charges will be waived as well. Landlords are being encouraged to have conversations with their tenants regarding rental waivers or deferrals for up to 6 months. These conversations need to be taken into context with people or businesses that are having hardship. It's not a carte blanche to say that you don't have to pay your rent anymore. So it is a case-by-case basis. So for employees that continue to be employed and are renting, they can't just say, well, I'm not going to pay my rent for the next 6 months because they don't want to. That's not the way that this scenario works. If you are an SMSF landlord or are dealing with an SMSF landlord, then there are special provisions relating to rental waivers and or deferral that must be complied with to ensure compliance with the SIS Act. So if you do have a self-managed superannuation fund, or you are dealing for rental with a self-managed superannuation fund, there will be some additional paperwork that will need to be adhered to ensure compliance. No doubt there's many other things that are applicable. We are trying our best to keep up to date with different initiatives as they come due, and we'll provide further updates in the coming weeks. In the meantime, just for you to consider, something to focus in on right now is about you and your businesses, or your personal self, and that is, with your businesses, really can continue to think about why you're in business, because that's going to really help get through this period, and think about what's out there for the future in terms of when we get to the other side of this crisis. What are the opportunities out there? So you might be considering, what are the growth opportunities out there for your business? Different opportunities might come up as a result of this COVID-19 crisis. Think about your profits, what profit margins that you're generating. Think about, cash flow. If you've got cash flow issues right now, then there may be some things that we can, with the banking loan offers, that if we can understand what your cash flow requirements are over the next 6 months, then, you may have some extra funding that's available to you. Certainly, it's a really important time to think about making sure that your assets are protected. If just in case something goes wrong with the business, we need to really make sure that your assets overall are protected. We also need to understand what your tax scenario is, so that we can ensure that you're managing your taxation requirements. When we've analysed your why, maybe you may find that you're looking at retiring or succession in terms of selling your business. And also we need to think about, the legacy that you're going to be leaving. These are some of the issues that we look at SumTotal Accounting and Business, and I'd love to have conversations with you about all of these topics. The other thing that I wanted to remind you is that I'm continually working with other professionals in business. I try and ensure that we've got a really good link between experts in marketing, business advisory, mortgage brokers, financial planners, lawyers, insurers, and other business related professionals. So if you need some help from any of these types of areas, certainly I'll be happy to have a chat with you about getting linking up with some people. It might be time right now to be looking at your website and how that works, your online presence, helping with funding, um, legal issues in relation to non-payment of accounts, etc. A myriad of things. So if you need to talk to somebody about any of those issues, then I'd certainly be happy to have a chat with you about that. Just one final thing, promise to you, we've got a really small team. We've got 6 in our team, and myself as the lead accountant. I've also got support from Alex and Iris and Alan, who are all accountants. They provide support to me in terms of data analysis, looking at your files, making sure that the files are up to date, and a whole myriad of other things. And I've also got support from my 2 daughters, Jade and Kelly. Jade looks after client services, and Kelly looks after the admin in the business. So we do, try our best to be accessible to you, our customers, and also try and provide straightforward advice that is readily understandable. So please rest assured that we're available to you, and we're here trying to do our best to make sure that your businesses can survive and thrive in these difficult times and getting through this crisis that we're currently facing. So if you want to contact me, you can call me or by phone, either landline or mobile, or you can send me a message via email, and I'd happily talk to you or email with you, or if you want to have a face-to-face, I'd be welcome a Skype or a Hangout or a Zoom or any other sorts of e-platform technologies that are available to us right now. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next update.